Well, it's getting close to halfway through April, and it's still snowing here. Spring has not come yet.
Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. I brought my old growth style thuja in. I left it outside for the entire winter. They're quite hardy, these trees, and it seems to have survived the winter just fine. It still has its winter colors on it. You can see that's kind of not very green looking, but that should improve. I'm going to leave it in the greenhouse now. I want to get it ready for the warmer weather that will eventually come in spring. So I was kind of digging around on the roots, and I just wanted to look at the surface roots and see what's going on. So I'll show you that. Here is a look at the tree. So the front is somewhere around here. I've always grown it in this large kind of plastic training pot, and someday I'll put it into a bonsai pot. I think it's still not ready. I need to grow more branches on this side, and yeah, I think it's fine in the training pot, at least for a few more years, until the shape gets a little more refined looking, and then it'll go in a bonsai pot. So yeah, I was just looking around at the root base. Here is a close-up of the root system. So the only problem, I have a large root coming straight out the front of the tree. I may have to kind of carve the top of it back. I think it has roots growing kind of from the bottom of this root down into the soil, so I can do a bit of carving. I would rather, not have any roots coming straight out the front of the tree. I'd rather them off on an angle, but that can be corrected. I've done a lot of root work to this tree over the years, and some of the roots have died off. You can see where I've cut off some of the roots. When I collected it, there were a lot of roots that just weren't very good. So I've tried to do as much root work on it as I can. And it's getting better. You can see there's one at the back I cut off that died off, and it's kind of healing around it. Looks quite natural. You see a lot of thujas in nature that look like this at the root base. Yeah, so there'll be, work coming to it when I repot it. I'll leave the tree in the greenhouse here while it's really cold outside. It's still going below freezing at nighttime. And then when the weather warms up a bit, hopefully in a week or so, the tree can go back outside. Today I'm going to be working on my abandoned VW Beetle Penjing. I've got a dead tree here and it needs weeding. So I'm going to replace this tree with a living one and clean up the landscape. Here's a look at the VW Penjing. So a lot of weeds have grown in, and some of the smaller weeds can look good. It looks just like weeds that would grow up around an abandoned car. But these kind of weeds, they spread and look terrible. So I'll do some weeding. This tree that died here, I don't know why it died. It was nice and green in fall. And then over the winter, they all got their winter colors. And then in spring, it just never greened up. It just got more and more brown. So I need to replace that. I planted this lemon cypress here. It's a really bright green. And initially, these trees weren't very developed, so I had them kind of looking, they're kind of ball-shaped. And my goal is to grow all these trees into like tall evergreens in a conical shape. And I'm not sure about the bright green color of this lemon cypress. If it takes away from the planting, it sure is bright and maybe doesn't suit the natural kind of looking landscape. You don't see trees this bright green, mature trees in this area. So yeah, it looks a bit of out of place, I think. I'll show you kind of a close-up view of the Penjing. Here's a bit of a close-up. I think the car still looks good. I'm going to begin by pulling out these weeds. They're getting really big. There's one. It's important to get those weeds out before they spread and flower and drop more seeds down. My next step, I want to remove this dead tree here. So I'm going to dig around a bit. It's being a little difficult coming out. It's probably, the root system of this tree is probably tangled on the root system of the trees beside it. Alright, here I go. I'm going to pull. Oh, it's so tough. There I go. Okay, that is out. So it had a good root system. Yeah, I don't know why that died. Oh well. It happens. And it did happen. All you can do is replace it with another tree. So the new tree that I put in, I won't be disturbing the roots on them too much. I'll just be basically pulling it out of the pot and slipping it in. So I have a choice of two trees. I have a dwarf, I think Hinoki cypress, and a cryptomeria. Tough call. Yeah, I'll have to decide what to put in. I have to make a decision about this lemon cypress. I have to decide, do I want that? Let me have a look at the planting. I like having the tall tree there, but I'm just not sure about that bright green color. If it just is too bright, kind of takes your eye away from the foliage in here. It kind of stands out as being a little unusual to me. If I take it out, I would grow it as a, just a tree in a pot as a separate tree, not as part of the penjing. So maybe I'll do that. I like the tree there, but I just think I'll never be happy with it. I don't think it just doesn't look natural enough for this setting. I think the darker trees look more natural and kind of realistic. I think this just stands out as being kind of an odd specimen tree that would look good by itself, but just not in this planting. So for that reason, I am going to take it out. I wish I had another tree of that size to replace it with, but I don't think I do. I'll look around. I do have these dwarf Hinoki cypress here. They would look pretty good in the penjing. That's one possibility. They're not very big. I have this tree down here. I think this is also a Hinoki cypress. It's taller. It's about the right size, but it's not very miniature looking. It's kind of a bit of an odd looking tree. That was a cutting. Yeah, I don't think that would look very good. Down here I have some small boxwoods. That would look quite nice as a deciduous tree in the planting. The scale of the foliage is about right. It's a possibility. I have this Shimpaku juniper here, but again, it's not very developed. It's a bit of an ugly duckling at the moment. Yeah, I don't think that would look good. Well, I think I'll take out the lemon cypress, put it in its own pot, and then I'll plant both of these trees here, and maybe I can grow this cryptomeria, tall enough so it kind of replaces the taller tree here eventually. Yeah, I think that's a good step ahead for this penjing. Okay, so out comes the lemon cypress. It's growing really well. So this was started from a cutting by Bonsai J. He gave it to me quite a few years ago. I think it'll make a nice tree by itself. I'm just going to peel all the moss away here. I'll replant new moss. Alright, let's see if I can pull this tree out without disturbing the rest of the trees too much. Oh, it's good in here. Good and tight. Holy. This lemon cypress sure has grown well. Okay, there it goes. Just had a few long roots. Yeah, so I'm going to put that in water.
until I finish the penjing. Oh, there's a drainage screen I got to put back in. Yeah, I'll put that in water until I'm ready to do the potted up. There it is, soaking away. Okay, I've got my drainage screen back in place. A base layer of soil on top. And I'm just kind of combing out the roots of the trees that were beside the lemon cypress. And I'll just prune them back a little bit. So I have a good fresh pocket to plant the trees in here. I think that's good. Okay, next I'm going to clean up a bit and then we'll get the other trees out of the pot. Here I go. This should just pop out. Now I noticed a bit of liverwort on the surface here, so I'm going to rake away the surface soil there, or the moss, and just try and get rid of that liverwort. I don't want that spreading in my planting. It's hard to get rid of. So there's the first tree, and I was going to place this one probably up front, but I'm not sure. I imagine this tree is a little faster growing, so I think it would make sense to put it in the back. And if I change my mind about this tree, I can always pop it out the back. So I'll get this one out of the pot too. And so this one is getting, it's not root bound, but it's getting a good amount of roots on it. Take the drainage screen off the bottom. And I don't think I've ever repotted this tree. I think this was given to me by Matt in this pot. So I think I better just kind of do a little investigation here of the surface roots. It may help me pick a front for the tree. Yeah, so this soil is a little, I think there's a bit of garden soil in it, but it's mostly garden soil and perlite, so it's not a bad mix. And the roots aren't active on this yet, so there's no problem doing a full repot. I think that's pretty good because it'll be on a hill and the roots are combed out. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So that one, the plan is to maybe go back here. So I'm going to have a look from the front and place the trees. So I'll do that next. Okay, let me have a look. Make sure this is in position over here. And then I have two trees to place. So, well, I like it better already without that lemon cypress in there. That was just too bright looking. Yeah, this is a good looking tree. It's just very small at the moment. So the aim will be to grow it a little taller. And then the one in the back, I think something like that, with it kind of spreading out this direction. It looks a little heavy, the foliage on this side now. But again, that can change. Straighten this tree out. It was a bit crooked in there. Maybe that's why it looks so heavy on that side. Yeah, that looks better. And I think this one needs to be just a little closer. I wonder, placing it more forward, would that look better? Maybe. I kind of want the beetle to look like it's surrounded by trees, like it was abandoned and then a forest grew up around it.
Yeah, maybe that one more like that. That looks pretty good there. Kind of has sort of an asymmetrical triangular shape to the silhouette. I'm not sure where to keep this one back here or bring it forward. If I bring it forward, the planting has more depth. So I think I like it forward better. Yeah, I think that's the best it can look. You're looking at the front now. I think that's pretty good. So I think that's where I'll plant the trees. So I've just got to make sure the trees kind of rake the roots out the best I can. Now I could raise the tree a bit if I wanted. But I'm not sure if I want that hill there or not. Would the tree look better up higher? No, I don't think so. I think it keeps it in a triangular silhouette, the forest. I'm going to try planting it right here. So I'm just combing the roots out, making sure they're radial on both trees. Give them the best chance I can of getting those roots established and growing well this year. I think that's good. Okay, I am going to fill it in with soil now. I'm going to reuse the soil. And the reason I'm reusing it is it's quite fresh soil, and it's been growing a lot of, well, coniferous trees have been growing in it, and I think it'll be good. I think it'll be less of a shock for the trees to have the familiar soil in here. Okay, I think everything's looking good. I'm going to check out the planting from the front now and just have a look. And I noticed I have a bit of liverwort right here. I'm going to pull out. Okay, let's have a look from the front now. Here's a look at the planting now. So I think all is looking good. I think that's the best I can make it with these trees. It is possible I could even add a third tree back here. Just to make it a little denser towards the back. It's possible. But I think, for now, I think this is good. I need to do a little trimming on this juniper here. Maybe just straighten that tree out a bit. But yeah, I think it's an improvement. And as you know, once these trees grow more into a conical form, I think they'll look better. But I like it better without that lemon cypress there. It was just too bright a green color, and it just took your eye away and didn't look very natural. So it's possible, you know, I can put my little fence over here, which is falling apart, or something, you know, maybe another piece of junk back in the corner to kind of fill that space in a bit. I could try moving the car back a bit, maybe. Just a little bit. Like that. That looks a little more balanced. Yeah, so I think it's time to water the planting. And here I go. So make sure everything's watered well. All
These new trees are watered in nicely. And I'll add some moss just to finish it off. I've got some moss here that I can add around the new trees. Okay. So I'll put some of the shallower moss up front, the thinner moss. And then maybe put some of the thicker moss towards the back. This is kind of a fairly big lump. Might look good. Let me move my little remains of my fence here. Yeah, that is just kind of rotted away. Yeah, so maybe this one, yeah, back here looks pretty good. I'm getting there. I have a little bit of exposed soil at the back that I'll have to cover up. But I think that's good. So I'll just put that perlite out. Doesn't look so good. Spoils the miniature look of the forest. And then we'll come back and have a look at the planting and see if I like it. I finished the work on my VW Penjing for today. I find with a new planting like this, when I've added trees and taken trees away, that it takes a while for you to kind of fully analyze the design. And maybe in a week, I'll say, oh, why did I do that? I need a bigger tree here, or I need another tree in here. There'll be more tweaking coming to this Penjing as it evolves into the future. So let's fly in now and have a look at it. It is still snowing outside and it's starting to get dark. It's getting late in the afternoon. And I still have the lemon cypress to plant, so I think I will leave that for tomorrow's video. This morning I came out into the greenhouse and I was looking at my Austrian pine and I noticed something in the needles here. It looked like clumps of moss or something. I took a closer look and it was about 20 caterpillars, little tiny ones, chewing on the pine needles. So they chewed a whole bunch of needles right down to the stubs. So I pulled them all out, squished them, and yeah, I'm keeping my eye on it very carefully now. I don't think I've ever had that happen in the greenhouse here. I've had insects outside, but yeah, it was very unusual. So I'm glad I caught that before it got too bad. I looked all over the rest of the tree and I didn't see any other caterpillars, but I'm sure going to keep my eye out now. I think the VW Penjing has taken some steps forward. I think getting rid of that lemon cypress was a good idea. The trees right now are very small. If you imagine a person, they're very small. And my goal is to grow them into, tall conical trees that look like, this was abandoned in the forest and the forest grew up around it. So I think this planting will look better and better in the future. It looks nice now, but I think it's going to improve. Last year, a lot of these trees were just kind of little bushes, and I started training them in the conical form, and they have a long way to go. But I think it'll get there eventually. I think it'll be a kind of a cool theme and a interesting planting. I'll rotate the planting around so you can see it from all angles. So here's the front. Coming around to the right-hand side. The back. The left-hand side. And back to the front. I'll leave the lemon cypress to soak overnight, and then tomorrow I'll plant it up in its own pot. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.